If you're watching this, you're likely thinking about moving to San Diego and you're like, I want to move there, but I don't know exactly where. One of the first things that you do need to know is how San Diego's laid out. Where's the different areas? What areas might work for you? In this video, we're gonna dive into the map. We're gonna show you all the different areas, how San Diego is separated, show you some of the main cities, where the main kind of job hubs are, distances to the airports. We're gonna dive into some places of interest. We're gonna dive into some specific cities, give you a little insight into each of those. It's kind of like San Diego 101. So by the end of this, you're gonna know a lot more about San Diego and maybe help you find the perfect area to live. I've lived here my whole life. From North County, San Diego, went to school at San Diego State, lived in PB for a while. We're gonna dive into all of those different areas to give you a really good idea of the lay of the land and help you kind of dial in where might be the place for you to live. And stay tuned to the end. I'm gonna show you a new tool we are working on to give you some more insights into specific cities, specific areas where you can do your own research and figure out if that is the best place for you to live. But let's get into the map. All right, let's break it down. So we're gonna hop into San Diego. We're gonna start with a nice overview and show you the different areas, how it's separated and all that kind of stuff. As we're going in here, just to the north where it says Irvine, that's Orange County. Where it says Los Angeles and Long Beach, you have LA County. Out over here is Riverside County. So you got a bunch of other areas right around San Diego. So let's start off with a few points of interest. If you have been here to San Diego, you've flown into downtown San Diego, and the airport is right around here. So that's the central hub, that's downtown San Diego. That is all the little walkable areas are right around there. Right in here you have Balboa Park and the zoo. To the north, right out on the 78, somewhere right about here, you have the zoo, the other zoo, the safari park is what they call it. Right in here in South Carlsbad, right around, let's go with right around here, you have Legoland. As we start breaking down San Diego, the main area down here is just like Metro San Diego. So you have down here like Point Loma and stuff, you have Coronado, but the main downtown area is all right here. As you're surrounding it, you see 5 Points, but then right up here you have North Park, you have a few other walkable areas, South Park, you have Little Italy down over on this side. So that is like where you're gonna see the big buildings. That's where you're gonna see downtown. That's where you're flying into. The other part of San Diego that is still city of San Diego, the city of San Diego is huge. It actually goes all the way up into Escondido, just like little tidbits. But as we start separating this, going up here, this is kind of like central San Diego, where you have La Jolla, which is city of San Diego as well. But it is, you know, La Jolla, if you think La Jolla, it's considered its own thing, right? Right here, you have Carmel Valley. It actually goes up a little bit into here too. You have like Mira Mesas, you have Claremont, you have a bunch of different areas within this section of San Diego. As you go south of San Diego, you're gonna go into, you see Imperial Beach, Chula Vista. You're gonna see this whole section down here. This is going to be South Bay or South County, and it's a big chunk here. Chula Vista is actually like the second largest city behind the city of San Diego. Pretty big footprint. It goes all the way in here. It's a pretty big swath. As you see, Santee, Lakesides, El Cajones, La Mesas, this is going to be East County. And then another big chunk is up here from Del Mar to Oceanside. Going in here, we'll circle Fallbrook too. Going down, we'll get Valley Center in there. We'll include Poway, and then going down this 56 freeway. This is all considered North County San Diego. And we'll separate into two areas where you have coastal North County San Diego and then inland North County San Diego. We'll get into a little bit more in weather and stuff and like different zones of San Diego. So you can see where are the coastal zones, where are the inlands, where does it get hot, where does it get cold, all that kind of stuff. First off, it doesn't really get cold. Now you see a lot of other area in here. And you're like, well, what's all this out here? Basically starting kind of right in here, as you go over to this way, this is all like the mountain areas of San Diego. So where you have Palomar Mountain, you have Julian, you have Mount Laguna out here. So we'll bring it up and show you like terrain style in a sec. But also if you go further out into this section, this is where you get into the desert section of San Diego. So San Diego, as you can see, is pretty big. There's a lot of different areas, but the main place that everybody is living is going to be in this first third or so of the county. Once you get past this, there's not a ton of people living out there. It's going to be, yeah, obviously, okay, let's include Ramona. That's a city as well. Fallbrook is a city as well. Up here is Camp Pendleton. So you do have, this is all open space up here for the most part, besides the little city right here. You do have some people living out this way, but for the most part, if you're heading out this way, you're gonna go camping, maybe at Cuyamaca, maybe go camping up at Palomar, maybe go camping out at Mount Laguna, go to Borrego. There's a nice staycation spot out there. But as far as living, it's going to be all in this first third, more or less. Now, if you're living out here, how are you getting around? I'm gonna zoom it in a little bit just so we have kind of the main bulk of where we're gonna be talking about. Where we're going from like San Diego all the way up to like Vista, cut off a little bit at the top. But the main freeways are all going to be right here where you see everything lit up. So we call freeways it's like the 5, the 15, the 78, the 76. We don't go, it's not Interstate 5, Interstate 15, it's just that's how we go. Even like along the coast, it's not a highway, well it is, it's coast highway, but it's this one road that goes up, we call it the 101, and it goes like all the way from Oceanside. It's got different names as you're going, but it's one continuous road more or less. So main freeways are gonna be most of the ones you're gonna be see lit up. So the 8 goes through down here, it goes to East County and drops you off right in Ocean Beach. The 52 goes from Santee and drops you off into La Jolla. We'll go all the east to west freeways first, and then we'll go the main 2 north to south. 56 is going from Poway all the way into Del Mar. 78 goes from Escondido, drops you off into Oceanside. And the 76 up here, it is a freeway as well, but it also has a bunch of lights. So it's kind of tricky as you're going through. You're gonna be doing a lot of stopping, especially during rush hours. Yeah, it's a freeway, but it's got a few caveats as well. As we go north to south, the main freeways are gonna start down here at the border, the 5 freeway going all the way up through all these coastal zones. It actually goes all the way up to like Oregon and stuff. So it's a long freeway. You can take it all the way to Northern California and beyond. The 15 freeway is going to come out of downtown. You're gonna go out into here, or just south of downtown rather. Gonna go out to here. It's gonna go all the way through all these eastern portions, and this actually goes, I believe it definitely goes through Vegas. I believe it goes through like Salt Lake and continues up through there. A lot of connections up there. You'll see some of these smaller ones. These are more like highways, like 78 out here. It's kind of curvy roads. It's like little 2-laners. 67 as well. Once you kind of go out towards Ramona, there's 2 basic toll roads, or there's 1 toll road and 1 kind of fast pass road. So getting around, like right in the 15, you're gonna find a fast pass lane where you can basically pay extra money during rush hour. You get your own lanes, cruise up. They built that out a few years ago. The only other area is like this little section of the 125. I believe it goes to right about Spring Valley, maybe somewhere in that zone, but that's actual toll road where you have to pay. You can't get a fast pass there if you want, but that's like, toll roads aren't the main thing out here. Everything is just fly away, go free. A few of the other ones that you're gonna find, the 805 freeway, you're gonna find the 163, and then a few other smaller ones down here, 94, 54. Now we're gonna jump into some central points. So like, how long is it gonna take from Santee to downtown? We're gonna use downtown as just the main area, just so you get a feel for everything. Then we're gonna go from Carmel Valley to downtown. Then we're gonna go from Vista to downtown. So just hopping into Santee, giving you an idea, it's gonna take less than 30 minutes. Now this is leaving right now, which it is about 1:30 on a Wednesday. So not much traffic, but one thing that's cool here, let's just say you're departing at, let's give it like rush hour in the morning. So let's just say 6:30 a.m. Not much traffic. You hit a little bit as you're going downtown, but you can see times change drastically, 22 to 45 minutes. Like we had somebody reach out and they're gonna be working in downtown, or the naval base right by downtown. Now they're gonna potentially live out this way. So they'd be going from downtown to Santee, and let's say you're leaving at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we will switch it here. So going from the airport to down there, you'll see you get a bunch of traffic down there, hit little traffic here, but where's our drive times? Here they are right over here. So 35 to an hour, depending on which way you're going. Even though you're looking at traffic and you're like, oh, it's not that far, it can change quite a bit. As we jump into Carmel Valley, the times, once again, super quick. You just hop on the 5, but during rush hours, like all of these areas where the freeways are meeting, the 805, where the 52 comes on here, where it meets the 8, those are going to be a little bit more heavy traffic areas. So if you're living in Carmel Valley, you're going downtown, let's say you were going to depart at, let's keep it at that 6:30 mark, and you're gonna go to work, it's gonna change a little bit, typically between 22 to 30 minutes. So not terribly bad. Now we switch that up and let's go, we're gonna leave work at 4 o'clock and we're gonna head home. Now you're not going too far up the freeway. As you go north of this, you'll see it does take quite a bit longer, but let's just do this. We're gonna see traffic pretty bad right there. That's going from Carmel Valley downtown. But if we swap that, now we're going downtown up north, it's not that bad. So it depends on where you're living and what direction on the freeway you're going. It's going to definitely cause your time to be a lot more or a lot less. If you're going against traffic, you're okay. If you're going with traffic and where everybody else is going, it's going to be a little bit of time. Now hopping into North County, now going from Vista down to the freeway. You can see there's a few different ways. 78, depending on what direction you're going, it's relatively the same time frame. I would typically probably go the 78 down the 5. I just like that drive better. But obviously the a little bit faster route would be going down here. Now, if you're living in the foothills or down in Shadow Ridge area, it's going to take a little bit longer. Those are 2 areas in Vista. If you want more info on those, we made some vlogs on those, so go check those out. But let's do the same thing, okay? Let's say you're working downtown. You're like, I wanna live in Vista though. I like it, it's a little more rural in certain areas. I want to be up there, a little less congested than certain other areas down to the south too. So you're going to depart at, let's say, 6:30 a.m. You're gonna go down, work downtown. You can see it doesn't change a ton. You're looking at 45 to an hour. Now, as you're going home, you're going to be coming back at, let's say 4 p.m. You're gonna be a little bit different. We're going to San Diego now to there. It's about 1:10 to 2 hours. As you come out of downtown, you're cool. You're cruising, you're like, all right, this is great. Right when you hit the 805, this is the golden triangle right here. Right when you hit the 805, boom, 805 meets with the 5. It cuts down a few lanes. And so once you start going up here, the 56 meets as well. You're gonna be like, oh, traffic, more traffic. Right here, as you get in here, this area is a little bit blue because they have actually added a few carpool lanes in here. So make it a little easier to get through this section here. And they are continuing that up through here, but it's gonna take a little bit longer. I think they are about halfway through Carlsbad. Maybe they're in Oceanside right now, but either way, they're building that out to alleviate some of that. And then the 78 too, depending on where you are, you're gonna hit some traffic. And so this is cool. This is like a little, we could say, okay, showing drive times around to selected places. How far can you get in different areas? We're starting in San Diego. How far out of San Diego can you get? Right now we're set at 15 minutes to see how far you can get. We always like to say everything's within 20 minutes when you're living here in San Diego. Obviously it's not completely true, but everything definitely is within, you'll see, about an hour. Now that's like far north all the way down to downtown San Diego. So if you're starting in downtown San Diego, you get all the way, you can see you get a little further where the freeways are, because obviously a little bit quicker travel, get out to Lemon Grove, you get down to Pacific Beach. Obviously all of these areas, these are all areas within San Diego too. Like I mentioned, North Park, I mentioned Claremont right here. I mentioned La Jolla, which is part of San Diego, Pacific Beach, Tierra Santa. All of these are areas within the city of San Diego. I'll show you the city of San Diego here in a sec too. As we expand that out to 30 minutes, you get pretty darn far. You get all the way out to Santee, like we said, when you're going to the airport. You go start getting into certain areas of North County, San Diego. You get up to Encinitas. You get just to the border of Escondido right here through Rancho Bernardo. So, and this, once again, this would change depending on what time you're leaving. But right now at, just middle of the day on a Wednesday, you get pretty darn far. Now, once we expand that out to an hour, you're getting pretty much to everywhere within San Diego. Now, minus like Fallbrook might take a little longer. You know, once you get out to, I mean, you can even get to Valley Center, which I would think that would be farther, but hey, it's giving you an hour. So this whole area is everywhere you can get within an hour. You can go down into Mexico too if you want, get down into TJ. But this right here, I'm gonna zoom in. We're gonna take this off and show you what's highlighted right here. This is the city of San Diego. So when you're like, I'm moving to San Diego, I wanna move to San Diego, it's really gonna break down to, okay, what area of San Diego and where, like what city of San Diego, what's your vibe, what are you liking? And some of these areas might be, they are within the city of San Diego, but you might know them just as their typical names, because as you search around, if you're looking up homes on any of the apps or whatever, you can look up Rancho Bernardo and that'll pull that up. So that's right up here, but that is within the city of San Diego. As you get into here, Rancho Penasquitos, city of San Diego. Like I mentioned, Carmel Valley, which goes up here a little bit, boom, that's the city of San Diego. Certain parts of Del Mar, city of San Diego. La Jolla is city of San Diego. So all of these in here, Sorrento Valley, Mira Mesa, Scripps Ranch, you can see there's a lot of different areas within the city of San Diego that are, they're their own little spots. So people living here, if you're like living and you're like, okay, I don't live in San Diego, I live in Carmel Valley, right? Or I live in Rancho Bernardo, or I live in Scripps Ranch. And you're not necessarily saying I live in San Diego, but depends on if you're going somewhere, if you're traveling out of here and you meet somebody from wherever. I'm heading to Florida in a few weeks for Thanksgiving, and people will be like, where do you guys live? We'll probably mention Encinitas, but we'll be like, yeah, San Diego, over in San Diego, because people are a little more familiar with that. So other than that, other than all of the city of San Diego, there's 18 other cities in San Diego. You have Carlsbad, Chula Vistas, El Cajones, Del Mars, La Mesas, Oceansides, Poway, San Marcos, Santee, all those in there. So you can see there's a lot of other areas that aren't necessarily in this city of San Diego, especially as you get to the North County area. And one other thing that people really want to know is how far is it to the best beaches? We're going to start in North County. So let's start in San Marcos over here. Now, once again, it's putting me right next to the freeway. If you're living over by Richland, if you're living over in San Elijo Hills, it's gonna add, let's say 5-10 minutes. So right now, from San Marcos to the best beach, and I'm gonna say the best beach is usually the closest beach. Whatever one you can just get to quickly, whatever one's right near the freeway as you're getting off the freeway. A lot of people aren't necessarily cruising to, if you're living in North County, San Diego, you're not necessarily gonna bring the kids out to a day on the beach at La Jolla Shores, or vice versa. If you're living out in Claremont, you're not gonna go to, you might come up to Del Mar or something. You're not gonna go to Carlsbad too much, unless you're meeting friends or something, you're going out like that. You can see as you're going San Marcos down to Carlsbad, you're looking about 25 to 30 minutes. As we jump a little bit further out in central area of San Diego, we're going to Poway, which once again, Poway goes all the way back here. Here's a lake down here. There's some rural stuff out here, but here is you would hop on the 56 freeway, and I'm gonna put you into Del Mar because that's probably one of the closest beaches. You might go hiking down at Torrey Pines, but you're looking about, 30 to 40 minutes. During weekends, it's probably relatively the same because you're not getting a ton of traffic. And then now if we go down south, we're out in Santee. We're gonna take the 52 across. We're gonna end in Pacific Beach. And that's probably the closest. You could also head up to La Jolla Shores. A lot of people living in these southern areas, like if you're living down here, you're gonna just shoot down the 8, end up in like Ocean Beach, maybe Mission Beach, somewhere there. Once again, you're just going straight shots to the beaches is where most people are cruising. So at the end of these, where all these freeways end, you might get a little bit busier because you're getting a lot of people from inland. So if you're living coastal, all these areas are going to be a little bit more packed because they're a little bit more easily accessible, where you're just shooting down the freeway and you're good to go. So now hopping into jobs, I'm gonna show you some of the main hubs where a lot of the jobs are concentrated. Now they're spread out through a lot of different parts of San Diego, but there's a few main jams that are gonna be where you're potentially working. One of them is right here, Sorrento Valley, centrally located right here between all the freeways. You'll see as we zoom in, you'll just see a bunch of these corporate buildings popping up. There's like a few Qualcomm buildings over here. But all of this, not a ton of housing till you get over into Mira Mesa. Now downtown San Diego, yes, you're gonna have a good mix of jobs down here as well. This is kind of like, it's a small downtown. There's not like a ton going on down here, but you can see a bunch of, this is like one of the only areas where you're gonna find like high-rise buildings. There's a few here and there, but nothing like, as you're looking out, this is all like suburbs, more suburbs. You know, La Jolla, UTC has a few, but mostly downtown is the only area where you're gonna find this. But there is a good majority of jobs down there as well. Going from downtown, we're gonna go north a little bit over into Kearny Mesa right here, just south of Miramar. So you'll find another little hub of jobs. You can see, if you're looking on the map, it's anywhere, see all these like buildings with like the white tops and stuff. You have the housing, and then this is all commercial out here. So a bunch of area in this as well. You also have a few areas to the north. You got Rancho Bernardo up here, a smaller little business center. A lot of cities are gonna have some sort of little commercial area, but the only reason I bring this up, you'll find like Sony's up there. I'm not sure where they are with the new Apple office. They were building it out. I know they bought out, where did it go? An entire building. Oh, it's the old Hewlett Packard right here. They bought like this whole campus out right here, and they were planning on moving down. I haven't heard where they're at right now, but if they are still, if you guys know, let me know in the comments down below. But that is right there, plus a few other spots. And then as we zone out, let me get us north to south again. Another one as you're going north is going to be once you get into Carlsbad right here. So this is Vista back here. Here you can see all the business park there, and then Carlsbad right here as well. And one big employer out here, which I showed you to the north, Camp Pendleton, you do have Miramar, you have the Navy base down here, is the military. So some people, if you're moving out here for military, you can see they're all, it's kind of spread out. If you're in Camp Pendleton, you're way far from downtown. But we have clients gonna be working at the Navy base, looking at like Santee's, El Cajones, wants to be a little bit more central down to there. Now, if you were looking and you were up here at Camp Pendleton, living down here, that's gonna be a bit far. Right in the center here, you do have Miramar. So you see it's kind of spread out. You do have Camp Pendleton as well, or not Camp Pendleton, you have Coronado, the Navy Air Station right there, North Island. So you do have, there's kind of like all the main hubs, and depending on which one you're at, north, you're probably gonna wanna live in this northern section. If you're in the center section, Poway's or Carmel Valley's, anywhere off the 56. And then as you get further south, anything below the 52 is gonna be a quick little shot down there. And San Diego also has a lot of jobs in the medical profession. We do have a lot of hospitals around, we have a lot of research, all that kind of stuff. So back here, you do have, my sister-in-law works out at Palomar, Tri-City, that's where I was born. You have Scripps, that's where my boys were born. More Scripps, you do have Sharp, you do have Rady's Children's Hospital. You just have a lot of different areas that, if you do need to be near a hospital, there's a ton of different spots where you can live right here in San Diego. Now let's hop into the different zones, weather zones, that kind of thing right here in San Diego. Because if you're living here, if you're watching the news, you're gonna see that the news reporters have 4 different weather forecasts. And even if you're watching them and you're living up in Carlsbad, the weather forecast can be different even if you're coastal in La Jolla. One time we were driving down the freeway up here in North County, San Diego. It was all socked in. There was clouds everywhere. It was just kind of foggy. It wasn't great. As we're going down the 5 freeway, we hopped off into right here, or as we crossed kind of the 805, even going a little bit further right around here, it opened up quite a bit. It was nice and sunny. We were meeting some friends down at Liberty Station, and it was beautiful. Where up here, it wasn't so nice. The first one is going to be the coastal forecast. So there's no direct line, where's coastal, where's inland, but just a few miles inland is where you're gonna get that coastal forecast. But this area is going to be the mildest climate. You're gonna have the least amount of scorching hot days. You're going to have some pros and some cons, because this is the area too where you're gonna get a lot of that kind of May gray, June gloom. It goes inland too, but a lot of those overcast where maybe once you go a little bit further inland, it's not going to be as cloudy. It's not going to be as gray. It's going to be warmer. So as I'm living in Encinitas here, Sometimes I'm going to Casty when we're filming, and he lives over in San Marcos, and I'll dress all warm. I'm cold here. It's a little cooler here. I'm driving over to San Marcos, and by the time I get out of the car and it's ready to film, it's like, oh man, gotta take my sweatshirt off. It's hot out here. It's like completely different. As you go inland, this is going to be the inland forecast. It's going to include a lot of this area here. You're gonna see it. The temperatures are going to be warmer typically. Now it could vary depending on what other, weather systems are coming through, but in general, this middle section is going to be a little bit warmer, a little bit sunnier, a little bit nicer throughout the year, but it's also going to be a little bit hotter during the summer months. So it can be significantly hotter, especially the further out you go. It's kind of like a gradual rise in heat as you go further out. Certain areas of Escondido can get super warm, where maybe certain parts of Vista aren't that bad. As you get into this big middle section where you don't see a ton of stuff going on, remember I said this is where not a ton of people are living out here. This is going to be the mountain region. So this is going to be cooler out here. This is where you're gonna have actually some snow. During certain parts of the year, you're gonna get snow. Not much. A lot of times when they do get snow, you're gonna have people from inland and instead of going to the coast, they're gonna be cruising in and hanging out in Julian, which is a big place to stop during snow. They have a cool little town in there. Julian apple pies are pretty big. So you will see people cruise out there. Palomar will get a little bit of snow too. Once you go over into this section here, this is going to be deserts. Not much going on out here. So as you're looking from this angle, you see where the mountains basically start right around here. As you start going up the hill, Valley Center is a little bit higher than the rest of it, but Palomar a bit higher when you go up that way, where you do have Cuyamaca State Park, some cool mountains out there, Cleveland National Forest, and then obviously all the desert out here where it's nice and flat. And even though all of this section in here looks somewhat flat in here, there's a lot of different ups and downs and hills and elevation changes in a bunch of areas with views. I mean, even going like into La Jolla, doesn't look too big here where it says Muirlands. This is a pretty big hill going up. Let me see if I could zoom in a little bit more, give you a little bit of an idea. But as you're coming off the ocean, when you go up in here, Mount Soledad, as you're going over this way, there's some big views in this section here. But even as you go north, you're gonna go into this area over here, Black Mountain. Actually just went hiking out here, some beautiful views up that way. Even as you go a little bit further inland too, you're gonna find some more hiking. As we go into like North County, you're gonna see all of these hills in here, out in like Del Dios and Cielo out there. Then you're gonna get into certain areas of San Alejo Hills, where you see this is all built into this big hill, but Double Peak Park at the top, one of the best views in all of North County, San Diego, where you're looking up into San Marcos and Vista and Oceanside over here. But you can see there's just a lot of ups and downs. It's not flat, even though it looks somewhat flat on here. It's not, especially once you get into different areas in Carlsbad and stuff. And here's the terrain view. So you can see, even at the coastal, yeah, you're not getting like these big mountainous elevations. I mean, you do have a little bit here. You do have, as we get out into Hamul and that kind of thing, but even all these, where you see all these little elevation changes here, there is a lot of hills in San Diego. And one important thing, if you are thinking about buying a home here in San Diego, is keep in mind that insurance costs have gone up, and it has gotten a little bit more difficult to secure that insurance coverage. As some of the big providers, State Farm, Allstate, a few others, have left California, it's gotten a little bit more expensive and it's gotten a little bit harder to get. So when you are buying a home out here, one thing to keep in mind, directly right when you get into escrow, right when you get your offer accepted, and even you could start this process before, but is getting your homeowner's insurance in place. Now, how do you know if you're in a high fire zone? The insurance provider will help you find that out, but it really depends on what different areas. One thing they are looking at is a map similar to this, where it shows the high fire zones here in San Diego. You have the very high fire zones and you have the moderate zones. And then you can see there's a lot of different areas here in San Diego that are in very high fire zones. And when you are looking at homes, some of those higher fire zones are if you have a bunch of open space, you have canyons next to you, you have that kind of stuff. So some of these, like right in here, You see going down, you have Los Penasquitos Canyon. This is all open space over here. You do have some San Diego Valley over here, so you do have open space over in this section. Even as you go, you can see once you get towards downtown, there's not too much going on except around Balboa Park, a few other areas, this whole Mission Valley section. But it's really going to depend. Don't let it deter you. There's people, we are helping clients every single week who are buying homes and they're still getting insurance. It's just a matter of what is the cost going to be and does that still fit within my budget. So you can see a lot of San Diego is in a fire zone in one capacity or the other. Some areas are a little bit less, like all of this coastal Oceanside area, except for little spots. Some parts of Carlsbad, except for open space over here. Even certain areas which you wouldn't think, like right near the coast, this whole area, this is no real housing down here, but Torrey Pines Reserve, and then certain parts of Del Mar. Like even, I think it was maybe a handful of months ago, there was a fire in this little section of Del Mar. It was burning up a little hill and they took care of it pretty quick. No homes got damaged, but you see even some of those coastal regions can be in fire zones as well. And one other insurance to keep in mind as well is earthquake insurance. Do you get an earthquake insurance out here in San Diego? I would say it's probably 50-50. I myself don't have it. Cassidy, I don't believe, has it either. Some people do get it as an add-on to their policy, but you will want to get it if that is a concern of yours. As we're looking at the San Diego County shakeout areas, these are historical epicenters. You can see there's a ton of fault lines going through San Diego County, a lot on the eastern portion. Here's all of the bigger ones that were hit. You can see 1899, 1910. There are some even going through nearly like right around downtown San Diego. So a lot of fault lines all throughout San Diego. Is it a huge concern? Now, we've been in a few of the bigger. I remember in Easter, probably, I don't know, 8-10 years ago, we were sitting around having some lunch at my aunt's house. What was going on? You could start feeling it. The basketball hoop started shaking a little bit. It went on for, I don't know, it seemed like a long time, maybe 30, 45 seconds. It was one of the longer ones that I've noticed. Other than that, I've noticed a bunch. Maybe you'll just hear your house shake quickly. You will maybe see, we were up in Big Bear one time, and you could see the sign kind of shaking of, I think it was like, you know, where you order your food. But as far as damage, I haven't seen any, but earthquake insurance is definitely an add-on that you can have. But I would say it's not a huge concern with a lot of folks out here in San Diego. Now, what else is important if you are thinking about moving to San Diego? One thing, especially if you have kids, is going to be schools. I'm not going to go through all the schools because there are so many different school districts and schools right here in San Diego. So here's a list just of all of the school districts right here in San Diego. And you can see there are quite a few. So first off, identify what areas you're digging and what areas you're liking. And then from there, you can dive into all the schools. One thing we always recommend if you do want to figure out schools, yeah, go on Great Schools, go on niche.com, go on all that stuff. You get an idea. It's kind of, the ratings are based on a few different things about feedback and some test scores and whatnot. But if you really want to know, there's something called the SARC report. It's like a school report card, school accountability report card, and every particular school has one. And you can go into their website and search it in there and give you a good rundown of exactly what the school, like how long teachers have been there, what programs are there, like all kinds of stuff that you might want to know about the school and figure out a little more in depth, but also go into and find out what programs our particular schools have. Also, what's nearby. So if you're living in San Diego, there's a lot that's nearby. So let's just put San Diego, since that's what we're using as the main hub. We're gonna use that as like the jumping off spot. Let's just go into Dana Point, which is up in Orange County. Let's give you a quick little idea of how long it takes to get up there. Nice little, if you're going to Orange County, about an hour. Obviously, if you're living in North County, much quicker. If you're going to another place that we like to go a lot, out to the desert, I honestly haven't been to like our local deserts, like Borrego Springs and stuff, even though I've lived here my entire life. The main desert we'll go to is Palm Springs. If we're going like, we have a long vacation, a 3-day weekend, whatever it might be. You're looking about 3-hour drive out there. Super cool. Get Airbnb. Get a Airbnb with a pool for the kids. There's certain times that are going to be better. Summer times you're going to get better deals because it's crazy hot out there. Another place that we go is Mammoth, which is a ski resort up in the central area of California. It's saying 7 hours right now, but usually it's going to take a little bit less. Let's just say depart at, let's go with, How about 9 a.m. on a Saturday? So anywhere between 5 hours, so 6 hours and 8 hours. Now, if it's snowing, yeah, it might be on that higher side, but we always go. We like to stop in the middle here, have a little lunch, that kind of thing. So there's a bunch of different areas. Even if you're going to Vegas, we usually end up flying, but you go out there, it's about a 4.5 hour drive or so. So not too bad. Plus there's a ton of other spots. There's a ton of other staycation areas literally right within San Diego too, where if you're living anywhere in San Diego, you could head on down to Coronado just for a nice little staycation. Go hang out down there, act like you're a tourist yourself. Beautiful beaches down there, like in the sand right here. It says Coronado Beach. If you've ever been down there, see these little dunes right here. It says Coronado Beach, California, but the Hotel Del's right down here. So we're gonna head down there for like Christmas time. They have like little igloos set up, but super cool little staycation. Even going to downtown San Diego. If you're not living in downtown San Diego, a lot of people will come down here for Padre games. So Petco Park is an awesome facility down here. Well, depending on where you're moving. Obviously, if you're moving from elsewhere, you're probably not a Padres fan, but just going to explore the park, there's a ton of great food in there. There's a ton of great beer in there. There's a great vibe. The whole stadium's cool. There's like not a bad seat in the house, but also going down to like Gaslamp in downtown. A lot of people go down here. This is where you're gonna find a ton of, places to eat and check out and cruise around. This is where you're gonna find walkability down here. Go down to the Rady Shell for concerts and stuff. So Seaport Village. There's all kinds of stuff to do downtown. Even if you're not living down there, you can go and enjoy some of the things that San Diego does have to offer down there. If you're going hiking, I mentioned Torrey Pines right up here. Some beautiful ocean views. Here's the Torrey Pines golf course. I think Tiger won one of his majors there. I forget which one, but anyways, beautiful golf course. I still need to go hit that up. But on the north end here, you're gonna find a bunch of trails, cruising down to the ocean, cruising up to the top with some beautiful views. I guess I'll spin you around there. Can't really tell right there, but there's some gorgeous views of the ocean down there, and you can park right at the base here. Some other hiking that we brought up here in the past is Calavera Hills, which is up here in Carlsbad, right over this way. A lot of suburban hiking you need to see. You're not like getting out there, but I went on this trail where you ended here the other day and cruised through, and it doesn't feel like you're kind of in the middle of all these neighborhoods. Once you get up here, yeah, you could see these houses a little bit, but as you wrap around, like you're hidden behind this hill, like it's pretty cool out there. You're gonna feel like, yeah, it's on this map, it looks pretty condensed. It looks like you're surrounded by all these houses, but you're gonna find a lot of these little areas within San Diego as well. As far as San Diego too, there's a lot of these villages. We always talk about like villages, downtown areas. San Diego has a lot of those where every neighborhood's gonna feel a little bit different. Every neighborhood's gonna live a little bit different. Oceanside, we've seen that really blow up over these past few years, where this whole downtown area has really seen a ton of growth, where you've seen hotels going up. There's really good restaurants at these hotels and bars and everything else as you're going through all of this downtown area. One of the main drags going all the way from Oceanside quite a ways down is Coast Highway, and that's where you're gonna find, it's right here, that's where you're gonna find a lot of those restaurants as well. But as you're going south, that's where you're gonna find, like right off of these is where you're gonna find a lot of those little villages and downtowns. So as you're continuing down, turns into Carlsbad Village here. Still kind of call it the 101, but Carlsbad Village Drive. So this whole area too, State Street, this is where Carlsbad has their farmers markets. And going on down, as you continue down, going to Encinitas and Acadia and Del Mar and Cardiff, and all those places have their own little downtown areas where you're great for date nights, great for going out, great for exploring, and just really cool spots. Golf courses all around San Diego too. You're gonna find a lot of those. And as you go east, like I said, this is where it's gonna need to get like spread out. So San Diego too, one thing I did mention, yeah, you're gonna see all these little suburbs. You're gonna see all these little areas. There's gonna be little pockets here and there where it is more rural. It is more spread out. Rancho Santa Fe is a good example of that, where you do have, you know, a bunch of these properties, like 2 acre plus properties, big houses, big areas, big lots, all that kind of stuff. You will find that up in Livin as well, which is this next little section here. You're gonna find that out in Elfin Forest. All those are in North County, San Diego. But if you want like even more rural, as you're going out into like the Bonzels, you're gonna find some rural. Valley Centers, you're gonna find some rural. Ramona's for sure. And these are all, you know, not huge cities, but as you get into here, you know, you will find some infrastructure and stuff. So you're like not out in the middle of anywhere, nowhere, but you do still have kind of that space around you as you get into certain areas of El Cajon. And then as you get out here, it's just mountains. There's like a ton of space out here, which I think is so cool. There's just a lot out here. In a lot of these areas too, you're gonna find some camping and stuff. So I've camped at Cuyamaca here a bunch of times. Here's the lake right here. You can go in there, catch a bunch of trout and stuff. Super fun, love it out there. And out here, there's not a ton of, like, you'll find a few houses here and there, but you're not gonna find much. So it's just a ton of space. You wanna get out of the city, take a breath. It's all out here, it's pretty awesome. And here's the tool that we've been working on. We have been dialing in our website. It combines a lot of the videos that we were making, but also a lot more information. We have relocation guides, we have buyer's guides. We're gonna have local area guides in the near future, but you can go and explore the area. And in here is a map that you can go and check out all of these different areas. So you can just go into, let's go into Carlsbad. It's gonna bring up the map of Carlsbad so you know where it's at. You're gonna be able to check out which homes are on the market here. So you can see price points, you can see what's going on. And as you go down, you're gonna be seeing if you guys want to reach out. There you go, call, text, email, or just fill out that form. You can see the high schools and the elementary schools and all the schools within Carlsbad. And then down at the bottom, if you want to dive in deeper, this actually might be at the top when you're looking at it, but it's the featured video section. And it's going to be all of the videos we have made on Carlsbad. So you can just click on them and figure out more and more about these specific areas. So dive in here and really explore and reach out if you have questions. The relocation guide's right here. You just click on that, fill out that form, boom, we'll shoot that over to you. So there's this, we've been building this out. We really want to make this easy for you guys to explore, to figure out which areas are right for you. If you're not quite ready to reach out, go explore yourself and check it out. So as always, we do love making these videos for you. If you guys want a specific video, we're gonna be making more of these map style videos on all of the different cities right here in San Diego. But if you want to start that conversation and start dialing in what areas might work for you, you gotta reach out and call, text, or email, whatever is easiest for you. Let's get that conversation started. We want to start that conversation, so give you a better idea. We just recently got off the phone with somebody who was thinking of 2 or 3 different areas, and they narrowed it down to 1 because of our conversation. So really kind of dialed in where they do want to live. But you got to reach out. We'll hop on a Zoom call, go over your wants, needs, goals, all that kind of stuff, and get you dialed in so that when you are ready to make the move, you are going to be well prepared. As always, I'm Chris Erickson, and we are the Livin in San Diego crew, and we got your back when making the move here to San Diego.